Hey guys, this is HBK Grant from the Dark Shinobis, making a video about what primary weapons you could use at what mastery rank. So previously we have made two videos of which range from mastery rank 1 to 5 and then mastery rank 6 to 10. So I'll share the link below. So if you fall under that category, you could check that out. Today we'll be talking about weapons from mastery rank 11 to 14 that you could basically use. And honestly, like some weapons from mastery rank 10 or like even 9 or 8, they're more powerful than some weapons at mastery rank even 14. So just keep this in mind. Like it's basically comes to the point where like you feel comfortable with which weapon and which weapon you like the most. So it kind of like turns out that way. So I'm using most of the time some weapons that are like at master rank 10, so it's just like it's completely up to you guys what favors you the most. But like the idea about making this video is like at this mastery rank, like these are the weapons you have a lot of weapons you get access to, but like certain weapons they are more like powerful in that category. So we're gonna start with mastery rank 11. So if you are a mastery rank 11 person or higher, you have access to Boar Prime. So Boar Prime is a vaulted weapon right now, but it is a really good weapon. A lot of people enjoy using it because it has multiple shots, like you can like shoot it again and again, and it does a lot of damage if you put a proper build on it. So it's a pretty strong weapon to use. Next one is Phage. Now Phage is a really cool shotgun type weapon, but like a lot of people don't use it because it's not does as much damage as the other shotguns in like almost like the same category or whatever. But the thing is that like it's a really fun weapon to use. So if you put a proper build on it, it can do a lot of damage. But it's just like a fun to use. Like it won't do a lot of damage to higher level enemies. So like lower level enemies, you could have fun using Phage. Like I've seen a lot of people using Phage for the fun of it. Next up is the Synapse. So Synapse is a really cool weapon to use. It's a fun weapon to use, honestly. So like with a critical chance of like 39% at base damage and comes with corrosive, it is like a weapon that you could use like to meddle with and like enjoy. You could go to high drawn. Honestly, like even high drawn level enemies like 40, 50s, you will have fun using this. But like really high level enemies, I wouldn't recommend, because at that point you're trying to like survive as well. So like Synapse wouldn't do that much over there, but it is a really fun weapon to use. For master rank 12, so we're moving on to that. Rakta is a weapon. It's a bow. So if you're a bow person, you will really love the Rakta. It's a syndicate weapon, and basically probably the fastest reload speed in the entire game at a base level, not adding any mods for reload speed and whatnot. So like Rakta is probably the fastest one, and it can do a lot of damage just like Dread and whatnot, or like Cernos Prime or Cernos. So it is really a cool weapon. A lot of people choose this one over all the other Cernos categories, but it is a really fun one to use as well, and can be used for higher level enemies. Sybaris Prime, like I mentioned earlier, it is on par with all the other bows as well, but can be really efficient. A lot of people put a lot of multi-shot on it to see like huge amount of damage, but then when they go in to do the damage, it's like literally not a lot of numbers. So if you avoid doing multi-shot and then trying to put like more damage mods and status or whatever, or a critical, like you'll be doing way more damage for Cernos. And the best thing about this one is it just like Rakta Cernos or Dread, you could go like level 100 plus enemies and you can have fun with them as well. Next up on the list is Vectis Heck. So Vectis Heck is one of the favorite shotguns of a lot of people, so like just like the other ones, but this one it's a syndicate weapon as well, but with the proper build and everything like that. It has a lot of magazine capacity, unlike the other ones, and can do a lot of damage as well. So it's a pretty fun weapon to use, and can be used like for higher level missions as well. Like people even take it to Sortie and cheese it, honestly. Like that's how good Vectis Heck is. Next up on the list is Xenoid Similar. So if you are a Xenoid Similar fan, if you were like me like 2 years ago, this weapon was probably the best weapon in the game. Like I don't think anything else compared to this weapon, because using this weapon with Mirage, even today at lower level, honestly, like you could still cheese everything. Higher level, I wouldn't recommend it anymore, but with the lower level enemies, if you have Mirage, you use this, just use the first ability of Mirage and use Synapse Similar, you're gonna kill everything that you see on the path. Like, it's just insta kill everything. So basically just remember, like, it's been nerfed huge big time, so that's why it's not as effective as like how I'm making it sound to be. But before, it was insane. Like, this weapon was like my favorite weapon and probably like my most used weapon in the game as well, because it was just like anything you could name it, like level 300 enemies, 400 enemies, it would kill them instantly. But it has gotten nerfed so bad that like you struggle even at like level 100 enemies these days. So like, but it's still pretty cool to use. It's a really fun weapon to use, easy to cheese a lot of levels in the game. So if you have a Mirage and a Synapse Similar, they're like the ultimate combo, and you can like cheese everything. So like a lot of people will have fun with this. Next up is the Sybaris Prime. Sybaris Prime, just like in the previous one, there was Dex Sybaris, has a little bit higher rank, so like Mastery Rank 12. So it is a pretty strong weapon to use as well. So like a really good critical weapon, and can do a lot of damage as well. So if it comes down to like your choice, if you want to stick to Dex Sybaris or Sybaris Prime. But Sybaris Prime is actually obviously superior at least, and then can do more damage. But it's up to you guys if you want to stick to it. It's a fun weapon to use, honestly, and can be used for higher level enemies if you put a proper build on it. Next up is the Sanctity Grace. So just like the regular Tigris, actually Sanctity Grace is better than them and can do a lot more damage. It's on par with the Tigris Prime. So and then it comes with a proc as well. So like, just you have to see that, like, it's up to you guys if you want to use the Sanctity Grace or the Tigris Prime. That will be your choice. But Sanctity Grace is just as powerful, just a little bit, like you could say like there will be like a 19 to 20 difference between Sanctity Grace and Tigris Prime. So at the end of the day, it will be just on your hands. So it's a really cool weapon to use, same with the status and everything like that. So it's a pretty awesome, I would recommend using it, at least trying it out before moving on to Tigris Prime. Now we're going to be moving on to rank 13. And then at Mastery Rank 13, there's the Boar Prime. So just like the Boar Prime, at Mastery Rank 12, you will have the Talus Boar as well. So that's why I wanted to just wait until like we get to Mastery Rank 13, so I could just say it that way. So Mastery Rank 12 has the Talus Boar, whereas the Mastery Rank 13 has the Boar Prime. Boar Prime is my favorite weapon. Like after Synapse Similar got nerfed, it has a really high status now. It got buffed recently. So it is really strong weapon to use. So if you are interested in a rifle and you're Master Rank 13 or above, I would recommend trying out Boar Prime. It is a really fun weapon to use, and it is a really OP weapon as well. So like just like other rifles, Boar Prime actually is really good. I even use it like for sortie missions and all that kind of stuff. So like if you want to put a proper build on it, sortie levels like level 200s and stuff like that, you should be able to be okay with it. Okay, so next up for a Master Rank 13 is the Tigris Prime. So just like I said earlier, like Sanctity Tigris, you got Tigris Prime at Master Rank 13. So with a proper build and everything like that, one weapon that can actually go to 100% status and everything, one-shot kills to most of the enemies. It did get a little bit nerfed. So after that nerf, it's kind of like not the one-shot type kill that it used to do. But now, like even right now, like you could still like cheese a lot of enemies, so it's still pretty powerful. Not that it's like not powerful enough, but for like even higher level enemies, you can take your Tigris Prime and cheese with it. Now for Master Rank 14, we're going to start off with a giant Opticore. So a lot of people love the Opticore, has a huge damage base and everything like that. So, but the only problem is the reload speed, and like it has to charge to shoot, but like obviously everybody just gives up on that. So like if you are Master Rank 14 or above, or you're closer to 14, this one weapon I would recommend looking into. It can insta-kill almost like every level enemy that is out there if you put the proper build on it. So it's a pretty strong weapon to use, and it does a really strong like has like the damage capacity, has huge puncture damage, and like whichever status you want to apply on it as well. So, and like one Warframe I could recommend using this is with Hero. If you use this with Hero, you'll be like in heaven, honestly. Like you don't even need a Riven mod for this one to use it with Hero, because you could get the critical buff, you could use the penance ability and whatnot, and you can use it like to make it the reload speed go faster, the fire rate and whatnot, and it can be a killer with that Warframe. Next up is the Vectis Prime. Now, Vectis Prime, somebody earlier mentioned about like using Vectis in the lower levels. I just do not recommend in the lower level Vectis, because the problem is that at that level you're still surviving. Half the people that are like new and new to Warframe and they're using the regular Vectis, even though it's like a lower master rank, the problem is they don't even know that they're putting on like vitality or like redirection. They have like 150, so like while you're trying to focus on one enemy can shoot you and you can go bleeding out, and earlier stages nobody's out there to like revive you and stuff like that, so a lot of stuff happens. So I didn't recommend a Vectis in the earlier stage. However, when you're at master rank 14, obviously like by this time you know a lot of the stuff that's going on in the game. Vectis Prime is honestly one of the coolest weapons. It's not as powerful as it used to be, but it's still powerful, and like people even use it for like the Tridolons if you want to use it, just like the Lanka and whatnot. So it can be used as well. So it is a pretty cool weapon to use. So if you are interested, you're more than welcome to try it out. And the more you zoom in, the more damage you could do, and it is a really powerful weapon. Next up is the Tiburon Prime. Now the regular Tiburon I really liked, because like I play on all three platforms, PS4, PC, and Xbox. But the regular Tiburon, I put like 6 formas on it, had a beautiful ribbon for it. But the thing is, like with Tiburon Prime, they have like changed it into 3 forms. So like you can either do it in auto, you could do it in semi, you could do it in burst. So whichever one you choose to pick, that's completely your choice. You could build it for like a semi build for all of them, or you could build like a pure build like that could be like purely focused on like burst or semi or auto. So that's your choice. So like with the Tiburon Prime, you have like 3 options to build this weapon around, and which is kind of fun. And it is a fun weapon to use. Like it can do a lot of damage, but like once it starts getting higher and higher, then that's where it will stop working. But level 50s, 60s, I think you should be able to cheese them. It's like not that hard. Like even hundreds, maybe like you will not have that much difficult time. But from my point of view, like a little bit lower level enemies, not that high level enemies. And then we got the Supra Vandal. And now the Supra Vandal is kind of like an okay weapon. I actually don't have it, but like the Supra Vandal is another weapon you can get from the Berkatir when he brings it in. It has been nerfed, but like they recently buffed it up again to make it like a little bit better than before, because when they nerfed it, it really got destroyed. But Supra Vandal has a huge damage and magazine capacity and whatnot. Like it's really fun weapon to use as well. And then at last we got the Ferox. Now Ferox is, I would recommend using it as like just for the fun of it, honestly. But it does have like a high critical chance. So when you're throwing at, like when you're charging or whatever, like it has like 32% critical chance, which is kind of high. And when you're doing damage, it does a massive amount of damage to enemies. It is pretty cool to use with like mid-level enemies like 60s, 70s I would recommend, but like above that I would suggest not to. But you could throw this weapon as well, and it's pretty fun. It's a really fun weapon to use. A lot of people, when they want to use this, they kind of like enjoy it every time, kind of like shooting beams, like beam bullets and whatnot. And then you kind of like you could throw it as well, and it like there's like a blast radius and everything inside it will get like electrified or whatever, like whatever damage you have put on it. So that is pretty much it for all the weapons from a rank to 11 from 14. if you guys have any suggestions, like, hey, I use this weapon, what do you think about that? Like, you could leave it in the comment section below and I can comment on it as well. But these are the rank weapons that you could use at these master ranks. So like, even though, like, in my opinion, some weapons are actually better than even the rank 14 weapons or the 13 weapons, but it's just that, like, even though their master rank is low, they're still powerful, and they're more powerful than the ones that are even at like master rank 14 or something like that. But that's the way it is. Like, so they unlock at these mastery ranks, so whatever the other weapons are, these are kind of like the better end of it. So like, that's why if I missed any, I apologize, but like, hopefully, like, everybody, like, I covered most of them. But these ones can be very beneficial for like your mastery ranks, especially the Boar Prime, the Xenoid Similar, the Vectis, the Sybaris Prime, the Opticore. These are like some of the weapons which are like insanely powerful and can get you through all the entire content in the game. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you guys liked it, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to reach that Warframe partnership at 2,500 subs. So I'll see you guys next time. This is HBK Grant signing off. Have a great one, guys. Take it easy.